Awesome.
Okay. Let everybody in. Hi, Sandy.
Hey, hey!
Hi, guys. Hi, Jeff. Hi, Danielle.
Hey, guys.
Oh.
Hello.
Hey, Terrence. I haven't seen
Hi.
you in a while.
I'm here. Good. How are you?
Aaron!
Hey, Terrence. How
Hi.
you, man?
Yay!
Oh.
Hi, Michelle.
Terrence, yeah.
Hi, Terrence.
Hi.
Joel.
Oh, Jeff.
Hi, Joel. Hi,
Hi,
Sue.
Hi, Adam.
Good to see you, Terrence.
Good to see you too.
Okay. Welcome, everyone, to our Lunch and Learn. This is our 15th Lunch and Learn. Super exciting. A couple Zoom rules to cover. Please mute yourself when you are not speaking. We recommend speaker view for the presentation. Sharing your video is optional. And although we love to see all your beautiful faces, so keep your video on if you prefer. And then please type all of our questions and comments into the chat. We will have a Q&A at the end that I will help moderate with Adam Lanser, who is our special guest today. And a quick Autism Tree update. We have reached over 311,000 people through our social media since March, since shelter in place took effect, which is a huge milestone for us. We're really proud of ourselves. And thank you to everybody who's been tuning in each week to our Lunch and Learn. Our posts have been shared over 506 times, which is very exciting, another milestone for us. We have almost 200 impact videos on our HPF YouTube, so please subscribe today if you haven't yet. We also have posted 143 of those videos since March 12th. When shelter in place took effect, and that's from our whole volunteer community submitting videos. We post daily, so if you want to see and get involved in that, we definitely recommend you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've also had a lot of success with our Reading with Autism Tree series. We posted 35 videos and counting, and have reached over 29,000 people so far, almost 30,000. And then we have also provided 82 virtual events to date since March 12th. And we have 29 events coming up between now and the end of August 31st. And we now offer 18 out of our 20 programs virtually. 18 programs, 17 virtually and 1 in person, which we just finished up last week, our Bridge to the Beach program, which was in person, and we took all social distancing precautions, wearing masks and having hand sanitizer, social distancing. We divided them up into 3 shifts and only had 6 kids per shift. And it was a huge success, and our kids were, loved getting out in the sun for a whole week. So that was fantastic. And now I'm going to pass it off to our co-founder and volunteer executive director, Dana Hoff, who will be introducing our special guest, Adam Lanser, today.
Hi, ATPF family. Hope everyone's having a great day. And just wanted to tell you a little update of why Lisa isn't here. Yesterday, I got a text from her in the afternoon saying her water broke. And right now, I got a text this morning from her husband saying she just got an epidural. So I'm sure they've had a long night. If everyone gives extra prayers for Lisa to bring Calvin out in a peaceful, healthy way, that would be awesome. The other quick little thing I want to say is shout out to Danielle Levy, who's starting a book club that organically happened on the Lunch and Learn with Pablo Fernandez. Danielle shared about this book, Rain of Gold, that I started reading all because of Danielle. It's 500 pages. Danielle, I have 400 left. I hope you guys will join Danielle in the book discussion that she's going to do August 8th. It's an amazing true story, and I want to thank Danielle for bringing that to Autism Tree. I've really, really enjoyed it. Lisa, yes, Otto. Lisa's baby is a boy, and his name's Calvin. And it took me a while to realize that Lisa now has her ABCs. Her husband's name is Aaron, her first baby's Brecken, and then Calvin. So Lisa has her own ABCs. We'll put this in the follow-up, these little comments, Rebecca, so everyone sees the love that Lisa's getting.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so every time that we've been doing the Lunch and Learns, I can't believe this is our 15th one. They've all been so different and unique and special, and meant a lot, I think, to all of us, because none of us know how to manage a pandemic. And I really want to say how blessed I am to be doing this with you weekly. Thank you, Otto. You want to do the book club? Awesome. Love to have you at the book club. It's a really good book, and the story takes place out of Carlsbad, Otto, so I think you're going to love it. This is the book, if you can see it, Rain of Gold, and it's on our calendar too. But I just wanted to say what a blessing each and every Lunch and Learn has been. And on each one, I want to always take the time to say that everything that we've done in 16 years at Autism Tree has been pretty organic, serving one family at a time. And really, you know, I think the culture has largely been growing since we opened an office, and then we did our tenure. Lisa came on full time, and we started really looking at entropy versus negentropy. And it's really been something that led us to starting the monthly inspirations, and organically it kind of started happening on the Lunch and Learn, where in reflection of each speaker, it kind of leads me in a certain direction that is building on all the layers we've already been building on since I mentioned. I mean, if you aren't familiar with negentropy versus entropy, when you're in an environment that's full of negentropy, you feel like you see flowers and color, and it's like a garden. It's growing, and it has a lot of sensory. You can feel inspired by it. Where entropy is why people are leaving an environment. It's not fulfilling. It's not nurturing, and so things aren't growing. So we made a big effort, and it's very easy after all this time for us to see if someone's full of negentropy or entropy. And why, as a team and an organization, we have to really focus on making our environment full of negentropy, because everything that a family goes through when their child is diagnosed with autism is entropy. It's very hard. There's a lot of divorce. There's just a lot of things that are so challenging, and it can be a really dark time that we as a foundation and a family have to work very hard to make sure that we create an environment that's very nurturing and loving. And I want to thank each of you, because these Lunch and Learns have surpassed my imagination of how we've been able to do that. And I think it's really nice when people have been sending in photos that we are using now in the back of our presentations, and also when you type in things, it just lets your voice be heard. And the follow-up that Rebecca does after each Lunch and Learn has been really successful, where our open rate after of you guys looking back at it is like 30 to 40%. So we are really blessed by all this, and I just want to encourage you to keep always being aware of your 724 trillion cells that make you you, and how beautiful that is. And it makes everything possible for you. And being unique is what makes us all so successful together. When we come together, is that we are all different. With that, I'm going to start with a question that I came up with for you guys that I've been thinking about. If you were asked to share your life story, which events and moments would you include? For me right now, this pandemic is, you know, for all of us, kind of on the forefront. And if I had to share with you what would be the most defining moment, or what we're going to go to immediately as a family, me and Todd and Garrett, during the pandemic, it's Kathleen Hoffmore. And I'm sure many of you that might know are not surprised by that. But my mother-in-law, who helped us start Autism Tree and was our CFO all these years, I actually had a stroke the day they closed the hospitals and wouldn't let patients in anymore when COVID started. So it was a long metamorphosis of not seeing her and then her passing away on Memorial Day. So if you go to the next slide, Becca. The experiences we remember are those that our strongest emotions are attached to them. Overcoming obstacles, the losses that left us breath, or all the moments we felt most alive or at peace. So I mean, I encourage you to think about it. What is the most defining moment? And maybe it's something you have to put a little bit more thought into. For me, it's really cut and dry. It's this long process that we've gone through of losing kind of like the matriarch of our family, and giving Kathy Hoffmore that gratitude to Autism Tree. Wouldn't be here without her commitment and dedication. But you know, I think it's a beautiful thing to sometimes reflect, what are you going to remember? And if you can type in, like, what are you going to remember during this pandemic? What are your strongest emotions attached to during this time? And I have a quick, like less than 2-minute video I wanted to show you to talk about how experiences build our brain architecture.
A child's experiences during the earliest years of life have a lasting impact on the architecture of the developing brain. Genes provide the basic blueprint, but experiences shape the process that determines whether a child's brain will provide a strong or weak foundation for all future learning, behavior, and health. During this important period of brain development, billions of brain cells called neurons send electrical signals to communicate with each other. These connections form circuits that become the basic foundation of brain architecture. Circuits and connections proliferate at a rapid pace and are reinforced through repeated use. Our experiences and environment dictate which circuits and connections get more use. Connections that are used more grow stronger and more permanent. Meanwhile, connections that are used less fade away through a normal process called pruning. Well-used circuits create lightning-fast pathways for neural signals to travel across regions of the brain. Simple circuits form first, providing a foundation for more complex circuits to build on later. Through this process, neurons form strong circuits and connections for emotions, motor skills, behavioral control, logic, language, and memory during the early critical period of development. With repeated use, these circuits become more efficient and connect to other areas of the brain more rapidly. While they originate in specific areas of the brain, the circuits are interconnected. You can't have one type of skill without the others to support it. Like building a house, everything is connected, and what comes first forms a foundation for all that comes later.
I just was really drawn to this when I was thinking about Adam, and I love what everyone's typing in. I'm going to read them all, you know, after, or Rebecca can after me or something, but I will definitely be in our follow-up with this. Thank you, guys. Giving ourselves new experiences like we are even with Zoom, and really being open more now during this pandemic than ever to new experiences is one of the best things I think that we all collectively together can do for our brain. And when I was thinking about Adam, I hadn't seen him in a few years, and I'd only met with him one-on-one once because of his work with our international spokesperson and ambassador, Joel Anderson. So when I thought about them, I knew they've traveled, Joel Anderson and Adam have traveled internationally together and done work together. And I know, you know, they're big fans of Adam, but we had such a great time reconnecting this week to kind of just really talk about the Lunch and Learn. And I was so blown away by Adam because when he was talking about how he got into working with children on the autism spectrum, and he was sharing an exact story, it was literally, we could have used that clip in Dr. Vivanti's talk last week if you were on the Lunch and Learn. And he's a PhD researcher at Drexel University. And So Adam has an absolute just gift since he was very young of working in a way that would be textbook correct with people on the autism spectrum. So I picked this quote for you, Adam, just thinking about you before we even had our Zoom call with Justin earlier this week. A mind that is awakened by new experiences can never go back to its old dimension. And I picked that quote, and then our whole discussion when we talked, I thought, gosh, that's what you're really, really, blessing families, children with autism, is you're helping by following their interests and giving them further experiences from doing so that are helping them in ways that are probably not even thought of. But what's so beautiful is Justin is going to be on this call talking about next, before Adam comes on, of how his son Caleb is growing and from the experience of working with Adam. So with that, I'm just going to say thank you so much, Adam, for the heart and dedication that you have to the autism community and for making time to be here. I'm really excited for everyone to meet you. And I'm also really blown away that Adam is coming to you from Pennsylvania, where I used to be the past 2 years, and Todd was working. So he's coming to you from Pennsylvania, and I think that's crazy too. So here, with a warm welcome, Adam, and next, hi Justin, thank you for sharing too about you and your son and how Adam's helping him.
Sure, and hi everyone. Can you hear me okay? Yeah. It's nice to see so many familiar faces. So the slide, if Rebecca, you can please pop that back up for a sec. Those pictures of Caleb are a small miracle because remote learning has been incredibly challenging since it started. And I took this picture not knowing that was going to use it with our community, but just because I couldn't believe Caleb was actually leaning forward, engaged in some kind of remote learning platform. And you can see Adam kind of in the bottom right of the right-hand picture there, helping Caleb build a logo. Most of the time in remote learning, Caleb actually looks more like, our dog behind him passed out on the couch, not interested in the middle picture. But I want to give Adam most of the time. I just wanted to share with everybody that he truly is a gifted community member for us. And with a lot of the technology that I've been overwhelmed with, I do a lot of work in the technology world as an attorney and business strategist. I have not been able to figure out, what is what in terms of screen time, and really finding a way to teach my son a safe and productive way to create and engage from home. And Adam filled that gap in a big way. He's been absolutely wonderful working with Caleb. Even when Caleb is difficult, Adam is very patient and has a way of keeping him engaged and productive. And as a parent, I think one of the greatest gifts that we can give our kids during this kind of coronavirus pandemic, and now we're starting to see there's going to be more challenges in fall, is connecting them with opportunities to create and express themselves. And Adam is truly gifted on that front. And so without any further delay, Adam, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for all the work you've done and continue to do with Caleb.
Well, thank you, Justin, for all that. And Dana, man, I just feel the love here. So blessed to be a part of the ATPF family at large. And like Dana said, I'm coming to you right now from Pennsylvania. I'm back here for a few weeks. I was actually on production with QVC yesterday, so that was fun. And it's just been a blessing. So yeah, I'm just going to kind of get right into a little bit about who I am, where I'm from, and the journey I've been on, and what I'm doing today to help the autism community. So let me share my screen and we will get started. All right, so my name is Adam Lanser. I'm a photographer, videographer, special needs educator, and mentor. So who is this dude in front of you? Well, Pennsylvania turned San Diego. I mean, I'm here back home. Unfortunately, because of COVID, I haven't gotten to see my family much, except for a little outdoor picnic. So hoping to see them more while I'm here. But basically, I've been working with kids with special needs pretty much half my life. I started um, when it was like the summer before I turned 18. My friend was working at a summer day camp, um, working with kids with special needs there. And there was this 9-year-old girl with MR, and she was getting really aggressive. So they needed someone to be her one-on-one. And I was like, I love working with kids, so why not try it for a summer? So I remember going there for my interview, like not knowing anything, honestly, just like, hey, this is the girl, just like go through our day and uh, just try and keep her safe in the process. I was like, okay. So that summer was a game changer for me, because growing up in, small town Pennsylvania, we were never educated on special needs. All we knew is that there were certain kids that were in a certain room and they stayed there all day long, and then we might pass them in the hallway if we were, going to the water fountain or something. And it's so sad how separated they were from us. And during that summer, that quote that you shared, Dana, was perfect. It's like I was enlightened into something I never knew. And it also and me and that little girl, we bonded over paper airplanes. Something so simple. It was the one thing she asked me to make for her every single day. And I didn't know what manding for things was, but I was doing like man training when I was 18, not knowing the term, because making her request for paper airplanes. And then we would go outside. She would take the paper airplane and throw it into a tree. And then I would make her use her language to ask me to knock it down with a broom. So she'd always be like, "Al, get down, please." And I still hear it ringing in my head to this day. So I'd get this broomstick, knock it out of the tree. She'd pick it up and she'd throw it in till it got stuck again. And we would do that every day for at least a good hour. And she loved that hour. And that was that moment where I was like, I'm about to go to college. I'm going to at least study psychology in case I ever want to work with kids later in life. Because I thought my dream job was to go to New York, work at a record label, and that was going to be my future. But man, things change, I tell you that. So I worked at a record label the year after college, realized I did not like busting my butt just to make some CEO money. I missed that intrinsic feeling that I got for helping kids with special needs. It was so rewarding, and you couldn't put a price tag on that. Because not just working with the girl with MR for 2 years at the summer camp, but then working with a boy with autism for 2 years. And I was just, there's nothing better to see your efforts given to a child, and then that birthed into just something so perfect. It's so hard to put into words. Like if you're not in the field, I don't know where everyone in this conversation is part, but man, it was like there's something that I just needed back in my life. So when I moved to San Diego, I just got on Craigslist, looked for jobs with kids with autism, found this autism agency, got hired over the phone just because I was a male that worked with a boy with autism. That was it. Like males are just very few in this field, unfortunately. But I love to see that it's growing more and more, especially when I'm showing people that, hey, you can teach people with special needs whatever. It doesn't have to be math, science, reading, writing. I mean, I'm teaching photo and video, and I never thought that would ever happen. But so I was an ABA therapist with them for about 10 years. And then I got my knee kicked out by one of the students I was serving. And honestly, like, it kind of wrecked me because I was like, I was out for like 6 months, and I was like, do I need to like leave this field behind? Like I saw that my health was kind of hurting from it, mainly because I got paired up with most students that were more had a lot of behavior intervention necessities. So then I just was like, I'm just going to take a break for a little bit, and that's where I fell into doing photography and videography full time. But then again, my heart was like, I miss the special needs community. I at least need a volunteer. So that's when I found Miracle 139 International through my church. And I met up with Linda, who runs it. And she's like, hey, this is what we do locally, but we're planning on going to some trips to Paraguay and Peru. And we need someone to do photo and video. And I was like, wait, I can do photo and video, help the special needs community, and travel. I was like, sign me up, let's go. And on that trip, ATPF's own ambassador was international ambassador was on that trip, and his mother. And that was the catalyst to knowing I could combine my passions. Sandy Anderson asked me, do you think you could teach my son how to get better at video editing? And I was like, wait, I've taught this special needs educating for like, 10 years. I never thought I could teach them something that, I don't know, like photography or videography. And I was like, let's do it. And man, ever since I knew I could combine my passions, I was like, let's do this. Let's like just go all in. And then through word of mouth, more people heard about what we were doing in Arts in Motion with Joel, and it just sparked me to realize again, why do I do what I do? And I was like, I really want all kids with special needs to pursue their dreams. And again, like I said here, dreams they might not even know about, because unfortunately, if an option is never presented to our guys and our girls, it's not an option. Some of my students are like, they didn't know I exist. Some parents didn't even know like this was possible, or that someone was doing this kind of combination. And another reason I wanted to do this is because I was seeing like my 22-year-old kids leaving high school and going from having these individualized education plans, these IEPs, then going out to basically having nothing that was individualized any longer. And I'm like, if they needed it in high school, the next day after they're leaving high school, they still need it individualized. So as I started developing my photo video teaching program, I was like, I want it to be individualized. So that's why I only really teach one-on-one or 2-to-1 at max, because they still need that. And I have this skill set where I can help students on any end of the spectrum, because I have literally worked with students on the whole gamut of the spectrum, from either little supports necessary to a lot of supports necessary. And incorporating that education into teaching photography and videography has been so helpful. I know how to create visual supports. I know how to use visual timers, how to do visual schedules. And I can use all those tools I learned through my years as an educator in the schools into now photography and videography. I don't know if you know what a teach station is, but a teach station is basically this little, you could say like it's drawers or buckets, and they have numbers on it. And then a student can sit, do one, finish it, put it away, do the next one. Well, I started using that teach station thing for one of my students so he could do have his own independent workstation. But in the top drawer, it's him taking a speed light, so a flash for a camera, and putting in the batteries. Then the second one is taking out a camera and putting in an SD card. And then the third one is going and taking 10 photos and then bringing it back and plugging in the SD card. So it's like so cool to combine those things. But yeah, so I basically wanted to stay focused and being individualized, because seeing my kids age out and it going to, like, I hate to say it, but like group babysitting, and it just broke my heart seeing some of my students in those situations. And I'm trying to not ever do that. That's why I was like, I'll never do a 10 group session, because all of our students need that individualized attention. So some of the wins that have come from starting this program is being able to make videos with one student and partnering with a nonprofit as part of his paid internship program. Another student was out of school for 6 months before even meeting me. And then in a way, COVID was a blessing, because I turned all my classes to online learning, and he attended to one of our lessons for a full hour, and his mom just got on the call at the end and just started crying, because he had nothing for 6 months. And then he finally found something that he wanted to do, that he was engaged in, not something that he was told to do, like told to do math, told to do science, but he actually had a choice. And that was so beautiful to me. Some of my students I've been able to hire them as freelance photographers, or them getting their own paying gigs. Some of my students have their own stock portfolio, because my ultimate goal is to teach skills that they can become their own freelance photographer, videographer. They can have their own business, that they don't need to go and get hired by someone else. And I see a lot of my students getting there. Some, it's here and now. Some of it might be like a couple months away. Some of my other students, it might be 6 years or something like that. But what's so cool about doing stock portfolio is that they can start, going out and selling photos today. And I'll explain more about that later. Then another one of my students is just, she's getting the support she needs to be successful in something she enjoys. So I just make visual tutorial checklists that her and her aide at the school work on, so she can get better at Photoshop now while she's in high school, get better at Illustrator, InDesign, other kind of computer graphic programs. One of my students were doing YouTube branding and online safety mentoring. I feel like online safety, like Justin mentioned, is key right now, since that's where most everybody is getting their social engagement from. And what I've seen is that parents can tell their students all day long what to do and how to be safe. But it's another thing to be able to model correct behavior to someone that is outside of the parent realm. So I feel like mentoring is key. I'll speak more about a mentoring program later on as well. And then I started being able to work remotely with a student in Chicago that I was connected to through an old coworker. So like this online realm, the sky's the limit now. I'm able to expand it to others and hopefully inspire other people that have taught kids with special needs how to do photo and video or something else. But overall, it's like all of them are finally getting to pursue their dreams, what they wanted to do, what they probably didn't even know existed. So I want to share with you this one video. This is one of my students, and he has limited expressive language. Receptive language he's got on lock, but video has helped him become more expressive. He started asking more questions, engaging more, not having to use an assistive tech device as much. And also through photography, he's the one who got to do an art show through Art of Autism and have a booth and showcase his work. So it's just been beautiful to watch media be such a breakthrough for him, not just a creative outlet or even a way to make income, but a way to actually help his expressive language, help his speech. So it's been really cool. So I'd like to share that video with you right now.
My name is Thomas Feiner. I am a photographer and photographer. I like to take photos of many different things. I like the ocean, the shores, and animals. Walking around La Jolla helps me be creative. I like Photoshop. I like Premiere Pro. I like Lightroom. I hope you enjoy my art.
So that was a logo that he actually designed. So yeah, it's just been so amazing to be able to work with all my students. But there's still such a need. For me, it's not just teaching, it's advocating. So people, even just my friends, just don't know, what happens when our guys and our girls turn 20, 22 and they age out of high school. And luckily in San Diego, we have a good amount of programs, but again, they're not, the ones that I've seen the most aren't very individualized. And those are the students that I'm really trying to focus and be an option for. And also some other things, just not just have more programs, but for teachers to be open to including children with special needs, employers to be open to hiring or implementing the paid internship programs, and just more people to advocate. When I'm not teaching, I'm talking to my friends about what I'm doing, and it's been awesome to see different people in my life just start seeing people with special needs in a different way. Again, going back to that quote, Dana, that was so good, because it's like once your brain changes, it's like there's just no going back, and it's just so good. It's so good. So some of the programs that I personally run, some of it is just mentoring, being a young male to build a relationship with. I also run like a social group at my church, connecting young adults with other young adults. So that's been really great. I run a creative track photo video program for just students that are just trying to see if photo video is something they like to do, something they want to get into. So just getting used to taking pictures with cameras, shooting some video. Then I do a professional track, which is really focused on, building your business, developing your logo, start doing stock photo portfolio, creating logo designs, branding, the whole 9 yards, teaching how to email, because you need to do that when you're running a business, invoicing. So it's the whole gamut of running a business. That's what the professional track is. And then I do a program called Inclusion and Focus. That's a 2-to-1 program I've been running for the past year at Point Loma Nazarene University, because I have these students and they got these skills, but they don't have a social interaction when it's just one-on-one with me. Well, they do, but with their peers. So by doing it on a college campus, they've been able to interact with the students on the campus. So that's been beautiful. We do a lunch social there through Inclusion and Focus, where we play online games like the Jackbox games, if you've ever played Drawful, and things like that. And now PLNU has this new mentoring program called Come Together, where this new course that they have in disability studies, all the students that take that class will be paired up with someone with special needs and have 30-minute conversations with them per week. And my hope is that I can show them how to do games like Drawful to have those social interactions. So here are some things that I just want to give you some things that you could do at home with your students right now. Do a photo scavenger hunt. Give them a list of 10 things and be like, go and take some photos. You could develop a stock footage site so that they can start selling those photos online. Get on Canva where they can start creating graphics. It's super easy. You can join with peer mentors to help with online safety. And that's something that I'm hoping that Come Together group will help do more of as well. And then create video social stories. My one student, Joel, this is our video, Joel, right here, the one that we did, a dream production. And you all need to watch that. It'll be in a follow-up email later this afternoon. You guys can watch it. But man, it's been so good. And then I also did a short film called Stimulus, where I got to not only help direct it, shoot it, and edit it, but I got to be the main character. I don't have that big beard anymore, but you'll have to check that out. That'll be in there too. But big thing is always come back to your why. And why am I doing it? These are just a few of the faces and experiences that I've gotten to have with my students. I tell you, I cannot imagine doing this when I was on that trip in Peru, and now it's just been a game changer. And I just want to point out this young man here. This is Asa. He was the boy I worked with autism. He is now 24. I bumped into him last Christmas at a church at Christmas Eve service, and I was like, "Is that Asa? That's my little dude from when I was like 19, 20." And he's grown up. He's working at Goodwill, and he was another just glowing reason of why I do what I do. I'll leave you with this last quote from Andy Stanley. It says, "Do for one what you wish you could do for everyone." And that's something that it's kind of like my mantra that I always come back to, because I know I wish I could help every student in the world, but if I can focus on one and then the next one and the next one, then I win. So thank you everyone for joining, and sorry it went a little late, but I'll just pass it over to you guys. Muted.
There we go. Thank you so much, Adam. That was so wonderful. I loved all the resources that you gave for us, and I want to be respectful of everyone's time. So we do have a minute left, so I'm going to open it up for a quick Q&A if anybody has any specific questions they want to ask to Adam. I did see there was one question from Miss Allison Leeds. How do you select what program they work with you on? I kind of want to ask also, what ages do you usually work with? And then how do you select, what program that you want to work on with them?
So really it's up to the parent or the student what track they kind of want to go to. I usually, through an interview process of what they see, if it's already like an interest of that student and they're like, hey, no, we want to, like, this is what I want to do for my career, then it's like hey, let's go professional track. Or if they're like, hey, we don't know, I'm saying, hey, go creative track just to see if you like doing photo or video. Honestly, until school shut down, I was only focused on students 22 and up because that's where my focus was. But once school started shutting down, I was like, all these kids are at home. I was like, you know what? I used to work with kids from, 36 months old to high school. So I was like, hey, let's start wherever. So no age is out of the realm.
Wonderful. And we also will be including all of the whole presentation, Adam's presentation, and Adam's email in our follow-up email. So if anybody want to reach out to Adam, he's obviously an amazing resource. And we're at 12:46. So if anybody has some last minute questions, you can unmute yourself or put it in the chat. Okay. Well, and then I'm just going to wrap it up, and you can always reach out to Adam directly or myself if you have any follow-up questions that you think of later. Thank you again so much, Adam, and special thank you to Justin as well for referring Adam to us, and Sandy and Joel as well. We love your guys' work together, and we're just so happy to have you as a special guest. Thank you for sharing your time with us today.
Rebecca, we'll do extra big smiles on our group picture and we'll send it to Lisa.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna take a group picture. Everybody turn on their camera if they'd like to. And big smiles.
That's great.
1, 2, 3. There we go. Got it. Thank you everyone so much.
Thank you guys.
Thank
Have
you
a
guys so
beautiful
much.
day.
It was wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful day.
Thanks.